And I went to my first therapy session and I literally had a journal and a pen and I was like, okay, just tell me what to do. Like I was ready to hustle through therapy as fast as
Yeah.
I can just to get back to the old way, like the old way I was doing it.
Mari Wuellner is living proof that granting yourself permission changes everything. At 24, as a college dropout and single mom with zero business experience, she granted herself permission to try anyway and built a State Farm agency from 0 to 3 million in annual premium. Then she granted herself permission to step back from the agency and pursue what she loved, coaching. Today, Mari is the CEO and founder of the Crew Life Coaching Collective, a membership community making expert coaching accessible at $97 a month through a full faculty of coaches in mindset, productivity, wellness, relationships, and more. Her permission granted talks draws from countless permission slips she's had to write along the way. Permission to try when unqualified, permission to change direction, permission to say no, permission to reach more, and permission to design life on her own terms. Married to Tom, a corporate pilot for 20 years with 3 kids, Mari has designed her business and life around her core values: family, impact, freedom, and growth. Her mission is to be a catalyst for others to realize the magic of a life truly lived on purpose, one permission slip at a time. Hi, Mari. Thank you so much for being here on the show. I'm so excited to have you.
I'm so excited for this conversation. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty juicy.
Oh, I think it's going to be amazingly juicy. So let's dive right in. So usually the way that I like to start these episodes is by getting a little bit of your history and your story, and kind of telling us your journey of how you came to be doing the work that you're doing today. And I think it's quite a journey because insurance is quite a jump into coaching. So I want to dive right into that.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I went to Gonzaga University for 3 years. I got pregnant over in Florence during my study abroad program, dropped out and went into banking
Mm-hmm.
and really quickly realized that I wasn't making the money that I was earning for the bank. And so
Mm-hmm.
I by happen chance met an agent who connected me with the people, and I applied for that position. And we can get into that later, but I had no business applying for that position,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a story in and of itself. But I became an agent and started at 0. So with some agencies, you're awarded a book of business and you have policies that you start with. I started with nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and built the business up from there. So it was like, a good decade of hustling and grinding and long hours and putting everything, money, energy, time, all of the resources that I had into building the business.
Mm-hmm.
Once I was settled and I was able to take a breath, I started working with my personal business coach. And through coaching, I realized, oh, I should probably coach my team, right? I should probably spend some very dedicated time with them, teaching them how to sell and the different products we offer and how to interact with customers and how to onboard clients. And so every Monday, I would have a coaching call with all of my team individually. And after a while, we built some rapport in this coaching session. The team started asking me, after we're done coaching on business, is there any way I could ask you a personal question? And I thought, oh my gosh, of course. And so they started asking, I have this credit card that I just can't pay off. Could you help me like figure out how to do that? Or I'm having some difficulty with a roommate and I just don't know how to bring up the conversation of dishes or something similar, simple but awkward, and it helps to have some coaching. And so I started coaching
Mm-hmm.
my team on their life as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Mondays quickly became my favorite day of the week, my coaching day. And as one does, I posted, this was, 15 years ago, I posted on social media, it's coaching day, it's my favorite day, and I would talk about what I was doing. And I didn't think anything of it. But after about a year of doing this, people started reaching out to me and they said, "Hey, I know you coach. Would you coach me?"
Mhm.
And so organically, my coaching business started. And through coaching my team, I was able to build up their skill set. And so they really run the agency and the business for me,
Mhm.
for us. And I am allowed and awarded time to spend on my coaching practice and having podcast interviews like this
Mhm.
and leaning into the community, the crew. And so it was a very, very organic journey. I still have the insurance agency and and also and also the coaching practice.
Mhm. Well, that's a really amazing story. I want to talk about because in your bio and then also through your story, um, giving yourself permission slips, because that's a really big one for me. I think a lot of people in general hold themselves back because they're like waiting for someone, whoever that person may be, to give them permission to do the things that they want to do.
Mhm.
And so when you started the insurance business, you said that you had no business even applying for this position. And so I want to like walk me through the
Mhm.
mindset process or the mindset shift that you had to have
Mhm.
in order to give yourself permission to even apply for this job.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Mhm.
love this. So, to become an insurance agent, first of all, they want at least six figures in the bank, right? They want you to have some money to invest, and they back then they really really put a lot of weight on a college degree,
Uh-huh.
on having that sort of
Uh-huh.
credibility, and I think back then I was lucky because I was young. And
Uh-huh.
so I was very naive and I was very youthfully confident that,
Mhm.
like, oh, I'll just try it. I'll just give it a shot. And the gentleman who suggested that I apply was also a great mentor. And so I think there's
Mhm.
that piece too, finding someone who believes in you, not necessarily the one granting you permission, but is maybe pushing you a little bit towards something that feels out of reach.
Mhm.
I went into this interview, and back then it was a very male dominated field. And so I'm sitting in the boardroom with like six men and me. And they asked me a question like, basically, like, what makes you think you could do this?
Mhm.
What makes you think you would be successful? Oh my God, Samantha, this is so embarrassing. I started crying. I started in this interview, I start crying, like not a pretty cry, like not like a
Yeah.
cute cry, like really crying. And I, through my tears, was able to convey the information that like I'm a mom now. I will
Mhm.
do anything to make this work. There is no other option than be successful
Mhm.
if I do this because it's not just me anymore.
Mhm.
And so it was, the body language of the men very much told me that I needed to wrap up so they could move on with their day. I mean, it was like they were leaning in and then I started crying and then it was like this, like arms
Mhm.
folded, leaned
Yeah.
back in their chair.
Yeah.
I lost that interview and I called my friend. I was like, I bombed so bad. I bombed so bad. And the reason I got the job is because of the vulnerability, because of the authenticity, and because of
Mhm.
the lived experiences.
Mhm.
And so in hindsight, what I gave myself permission to do was showcase my cred.
Mhm.
Not through the college, not through that six-figure bank account, but my credibility through my parenting, my study abroad journey, my dropping out of college and still being successful, my, working in an Alaska fish cannery by myself at 20. Just the lived experiences that you have, that I have, that all of your listeners have make us more credible than any college degree or than any certificate. And so many women, especially women who are interested in coaching or starting a side hustle or launching a business, they feel like a lot of them feel like, oh, if I just get that one more piece of paper, if I just
Mhm.
get that one more degree or certification or course or training, then. And
Mhm.
my invitation is your lived experiences are enough. And
Mhm.
it's up to us to grant ourselves permission to lean into that and to realize what we bring to the table so that we can go for the things that we quote unquote culturally have no business going for.
Mhm. Mhm. So, one of the things that you had mentioned is that insurance is a very, very male dominated industry.
Mhm.
And so I have a background in commercial real estate, which is also very male dominated. And now I'm also in
Mm.
the DJ world, and that's also very male
Mm.
dominated. So I feel like we
Yeah.
should kind of dive into this in terms of like, what is it like being
Mm.
a woman entrepreneur in a male dominated industry? And how has that affected the way that you show up in your business, the way that you
Mhm.
show up with your clients, or like, are
Yeah.
there certain things that
Yeah.
you work with on your clients because of that? Or that's the.
This is such a great question, and I have a feeling the answer is not going to be what folks want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Working in a male dominated field, 15 years ago broke me.
Mm-hmm.
I really leaned into my masculine and was hustling and working myself to death and really cosplaying, really pretending to be someone I wasn't, pretending to be a bro and a business person because that was the mold. That was
Mm-hmm.
the model that I had been given. Act like the guys,
Mm-hmm.
do business like the guys. You'll be
Mm-hmm.
successful in this industry if you do it like the good old boys have always done it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it landed me in the emergency room. I had a panic attack and I had never had any mental health challenges. So when I had my first panic attack, I had no idea what was happening to me. I thought I was
Mhm.
dying. I thought I was having a heart attack. And
Mhm.
I go into the emergency room and the doctor's like, yeah, this is a very what's the word where it's like, oh, this is obvious. You're
Yeah.
obviously having a panic attack. And I was
Mhm.
like, no, 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 no. You don't know me.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I'm a hustler. Like I'm successful. I'm a
Mhm.
grinder. I don't
Mhm.
this it like we don't have time for this. And it was my body that said, you're done cosplaying. You're
Mhm.
done doing it like the guys. If you don't figure out how to do business in a male dominated field as a woman, as
Mhm.
yourself, you'll have to quit. You'll just get sick.
Yeah.
And so it didn't work for me. But what I learned was, oh my gosh, I can still be successful and be myself.
Mhm.
I don't have to do it the way someone else has done it. And that was a permission slip,
Mhm.
unfortunately, due to
Mhm.
landing in that emergency room. But it was a permission slip to stop pretending,
Yeah.
stop doing it like everyone else, figure out
Mhm.
what works for Maudie in line with my values and how I want to run my business. And that's the way I'm going to be sustainable and successful.
Mhm. So what was the shift then, like, after you had the
Oh,
panic
yeah.
attack? Because I mean, I
Hmm.
feel like I've been on the verge of having panic attacks, and so I'm quite good
Hmm.
at I mean, maybe it's not such a good thing, maybe I need to work on, like, feeling the emotions more rather than, like, we don't have time for this shit right now, you know?
Yes.
But,
Yes.
like, what was the mindset shift that after you kind of recovered from the panic attack and recognized that this isn't working, this is no
Hmm.
longer serving me, and how did you change how did that you showed up in the office after that?
Mm. Uh, it was probably night and day.
Mhm.
Truly, I went from being a kind of a gross micromanager, right? Like
Mhm.
very hovery, making like really nitpicky with my team. I had a lot of turnover on the team back then
Mhm.
because of how I was showing up. It
Mhm.
wasn't a fun environment. It wasn't playful. It wasn't full of joy and laughter. to then having the panic attack. And it wasn't overnight. So let's just also put a pin in that.
Yeah.
This took a couple years.
Yeah.
And the doctor prescribed therapy. And
Mhm.
I was like, what? Like, wait, what? You know? And I went to my first therapy session and I literally had a journal and a pen. And I was like, okay, just tell me what to do. Like, I was ready to hustle through therapy as fast as
Yeah.
I can just to get back to the old way, like the old way I was doing it. And he's like, "Oh, you're so cute. That's not how we do things." And I was like, "What?" And through the years of therapy, it helped me slow down,
Mhm.
get present,
Mhm.
feel those yucky feelings that I
Mhm.
really was so good. I still am very good at avoiding, very
Mhm.
good at hustling through. uh, to figure out who I was. I don't think
Mhm.
anybody had ever given me permission to figure that out. I was so
Mhm.
young when I got pregnant. I was definitely on the track of this is how you do life. You go to
Mhm.
college, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you buy a house,
Mhm.
you work, and you
Mhm.
retire. I was on that trajectory.
Mhm.
And so when someone gave me the permission to say like, but is that what you want? That was the moment of, "Oh my
Mhm.
god, no.
Mhm.
I don't wanna be a helicopter boss.
Yeah.
I don't wanna work until I have a panic attack after a panic attack and not spend time with my family."
Mhm.
And it was just permission to reevaluate, to slow down and ask myself, "What do I want? How do
Mhm.
I want my business to look? What is success to me?"
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that's such a key thing here is like the world defines success in such a narrow way, you know? It's like, do you have like the McMansion with the white picket fence and
Yeah.
the 2.5 kids, and
Yes.
the job with the fancy title and, the fancy car or whatever, right? Like, and that's such a narrow way to define success. And honestly,
Mhm.
like when I was following that path, because this is, I feel like my story very much mirrors yours. When I was following that path, I was the most miserable that I have ever been in my life. And like, I was starting to go down the road of like alcoholism, not like I couldn't like stop drinking, but it was like I would have a bottle of wine or like half a bottle of wine. I'd be like, okay, that became like the norm. And it was like,
Absolutely.
yeah. And then I was like, thinking about it, I was like, do I really want my life to be this way? Like, no, absolutely not. And so it was, like having that mindset shift of like giving yourself permission to realize that you can live life another way, And so I think the entire journey is about giving yourself the permission slips.
Yeah, and it is so
Mhm.
scary. Like, it's a scary thing to realize, "Oh, shit. I've been doing it wrong for 40 years or 50
Mhm.
years."
Mhm.
And also, it's such a brave question to ask ourselves.
Mhm. Yeah. Um I wanted to talk about that as well because when you said you went into the job, you were talking about how you were kind of a little bit naive, right? And then,
Yeah.
sometimes people have these realizations when they're a little bit younger, but then sometimes people like have these
Mm.
realizations.
Mm.
Like for me, I would say that I started along this path maybe when I was about 35, right? And so, like, it's not like super early in life, it's not super late in life
Mhm.
either, right? Like, so what is the difference in your
Mm.
experience when people have these realizations when they're like in their 20s, versus in their 40s versus in their 60s?
Yeah, the naivety for me was a lack of fear. And I think as we get older and feel as if we have less and less time, the fear of trying, the fear of doing something different, the fear of going out and starting on a new path
Mhm.
feels heavier. I had no fear back then at 25 because I was like, oh, if I hate this, I'll just go do something else.
Mhm.
And so for me, it was being so naive that I just, A, didn't didn't even believe I could fail. Well,
Mhm.
life experience will tell us that's not true. And B, I had the time. And so those are
Mhm.
the two things um, that I had back then that I feel as if we don't necessarily have. However, it is so great to reflect on how you used to feel. Like,
Mhm.
what would I do if I didn't have the fear of time?
Mhm.
Or what would I do if I didn't have the fear of failure?
Mhm.
And I haven't really shared this story, but we're living that right now. This fear of like, you want something so bad and then it doesn't necessarily work out. What happens to
Mhm.
you and what happens to your life?
Mhm.
So for for a decade, I've had a dream of living on the water.
Mhm.
And during COVID, we bought a boat, which was the best purchase we've made. And we became a lake family and we love to surf on the water and we love to
Mhm.
just spend hours out here. So we would go to the local lakes and I would just look at the houses and think, "Oh my god,
Mhm.
if only I could have one of these, if only I could live on the water."
Mhm.
And last March, we closed on a house on the lake.
Really?
And so I had realized my biggest dream. I
Mhm.
had done the thing. And
Mhm.
it didn't take long for me to realize that I hated it. It was,
Really?
yeah, it was not the right time.
Yeah.
My nervous system was all sorts of whack because we
Mhm.
had 100 kids over all the time and we were very house poor. We spent a lot of money on that place.
Mhm.
And it was cutting into, as you mentioned in my bio, travel is a value, like seeing
Mhm.
the world and experiencing new things. And because we spent so much money on this house on the lake, we were locked
Mhm.
in.
Yeah.
Travel was no longer an option. Going to concerts, having
Mhm.
experiences, we just really couldn't
Mhm.
afford it anymore.
Mhm.
And so we made the decision to leave. And
Mhm.
so I we have one more month here on the lake. I'm looking at it right now, and we're moving back into the town.
Mhm.
And it feels like a failure,
Mhm.
and I'm so glad that I did it.
Yeah.
And so I think that whole, like, I'd rather be the woman with the stories, not the regrets.
Mhm.
Um, even though even though it's scary, even if
Mhm.
it might not work out, which is what has happened here.
Mhm. Well, and I think there's something to be said for that, right? Like how else do you learn than by doing, right? And so this
Mhm.
is something that you thought you wanted, you tried it and realized actually it doesn't fit. And so I don't think that's a failure. I think that's a success, in
Yeah,
realizing that what you thought you wanted doesn't work and what the other things that you value more like travel, like experiences, right? And so I don't think that's a failure anyway.
I love that. I love that reframe so much, and I think that's a great, reframe for all of us to kind of look back at the situations and circumstances and experience that we deem failures
Mhm.
and to ask ourselves like where would we be without that even if it
Mhm.
felt like a failure back then.
Mhm. Well, and that's kind of like, I mean, for me, probably my biggest failure would be my marriage. So I was married at a very young age. I was married when I was about 20, when I was 20 years old, and we were together for like 2.5 years before we separated. And I spent like a whole year of my life just like isolating myself because like I didn't go out, I didn't do anything, I didn't see anyone, I didn't talk to anybody and because I felt like such a failure, and there's other like religious guilt tied up into that I've come to terms with since then. But like honestly, if it wasn't for that, it never would have kicked me off onto the trajectory that I'm on right now, and, like, I know that for a fact,
Yes,
and so, like, for me, it's actually not a failure because without it, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today.
absolutely. I
Mhm.
love that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And it feels hard and horrible in the moment,
Mhm.
and we can do hard and horrible and come out better on the other side.
Mhm. Mhm. For sure. Um I wanted to talk about because you had mentioned that the person who kind of got you into
Mhm.
the insurance side of things was a mentor of yours. And so I wanted to
Mhm.
talk to you about the difference between mentorship and coaching and, you know, why it's important to have both, you
Yeah.
know, and like what's
Mhm.
similar, what's different, and
Yeah.
like why it's important to have both.
The way I the way we do in my coaching community is coaching is helping helping people come to their own realization and their own decision to take action. So it is asking questions, it is offering feedback on what we see and what we hear, and maybe offering a suggestion or idea or two, uh, and letting our clients experiment and try and make the decisions on their own.
Mhm.
Mentorship for me is here's the framework, here's exactly what to do, here's what I did, follow this,
Mhm.
and then you should be where you want to be.
Mhm.
That is how I see the difference of mentorship and coaching. And so I think it is very important to have both. To have someone in your world as a mentor who's living the life that you want to live, who
Mhm.
can tell you what they did,
Mhm.
tell you where they stumbled, and also have a coach to help you learn to trust yourself,
Mhm.
to say, "Oh, the normal trajectory or the normal path is this. That doesn't feel right. I'm going to experiment with something else
Mhm.
and coach you through that."
Mhm. Mhm. So, like, as you became a coach,
Mhm.
what were some of the things that you had to work through in order, like, because there's a difference, I think, between, you know, in your agency and
Mm.
coaching the people underneath you on the business that you're running, right?
Right.
Versus making the switch over to like personal coaching, life coaching, and like
Yes.
what was that switch like for you?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
like also, what are some of the top things that you coach people through in your business today?
So, I would say that I probably wasn't coaching my team back then. It was more
Mhm.
of leadership, being a boss, telling them what to do.
Mhm.
Once I started coaching, um, once I launched my coaching practice, and it became more of a guide and a sounding board, I was able to see the beauty in that.
Mhm.
How uh, people know themselves better than we will ever know them, and
Mhm.
trusting them to make the right decisions. It led me to have way more trust in my team and let them be autonomous. They are in the business all the time. They know more than I do now. And so
Mhm.
it really has become more of a coaching, like, hey, I'd like to increase sales, and they're going to tell me their lived experience and what they see because they are more um skilled and in the weeds of it
Mhm.
than I am. And so my coaching definitely shifted. How I coach, where I coach right now is 100% as the CEO and founder of the crew. I
Mhm.
only have a handful of one on one clients anymore. And I see myself as a catalyst.
Mhm.
And I see myself in believing in whatever the clients tell me they want to achieve. And
Mhm.
I'll become your biggest cheerleader and supporter. And I will believe in you until you tell me you want something different. And then I'm also I gather the best coaches.
Mhm.
So I have been on my personal growth and development journey for a while now, and I've hired a lot of coaches, and I've collected the best in each of their
Mhm.
niche and hired them and pay them very well to coach and teach and lead in their niche because I don't know their niche. And so I
Mhm.
think because of the way I coach, I allow them the space and the autonomy to do it the way they know works
Mhm.
inside the crew inside my collective.
Mhm. Mhm. So you had mentioned that you've hired a lot of coaches for yourself over the years. So what kinds of coaches have you hired, and what kind of
Hmm.
work have you personally done, and how have you seen the changes through that work?
Mhm. Yeah. So I have, um, I don't even know. I have seen the evolution of the coaching industry over the last decade,
Mhm.
and it's painful at times to see what's out there.
Mhm.
And so I have hired amazing, amazing coaches,
Mhm.
and I've paid 5 plus figures for not amazing coaches.
Mhm.
And so I've seen it all.
Mhm.
And what I hate is the guru mentality, like one coach knows everything, hire me for business or mindset or well, like I can do it all. It doesn't matter what
Mhm.
you need, I will be your person. That
Mhm.
to me is
That's
interesting.
disingenuous.
Like I
S
just don't like that is hard for me to see.
Yeah.
And so that is why I went out and found the best coaches in their niche
Mhm.
who stay in their lane, who are not the guru mentality.
Mhm.
But I've hired coaches on productivity and
Mhm.
mindset and business.
Mhm.
I was also in a mastermind that was not wonderful.
Mhm.
Um, and that's probably like where I invested the most. I
Mhm.
spent a lot of money on courses um, that I never finished.
Mhm.
And I think that's the
Everybody's
typical.
done that.
I don't even know what the percentages of people of courses that were actually completed.
It's actually, it's someone told me this statistic in a course that I took, but it was something like 90% of people who take
Yeah,
online courses never
yeah.
finish or
Yes,
something like that.
yes.
It's ridiculous statistic.
It is ridiculous. That's why and I've added to that statistic. I am that
Yeah,
statistic.
I know. Me too. Me too.
And so knowing that, I've made sure that in the crew, it's live coaching. And so,
Mhm.
yes, you can get the replay,
It's not the
but
same.
it is not, yes, it is not the same. It is not the same. And so
Mhm.
we really lean on live in person coaching. And because there's six of us, there's six
Mhm.
coaches, you have over 20 hours of live coaching
Mhm.
opportunities inside the crew
Mhm.
every month
Mhm.
for the $97, which is insane.
Mhm. Yeah. So, um what was I so you've done a lot of coaching yourself, and I
Yeah.
think that's so like it's so good because even coaches need coaches, right? Like even doctors need doctors, right? And so it's
Yes.
good that you're coaching yourself at the same time as you're coaching others, I think. I wanted to talk
Mhm.
about your journey of because we had talked about or mentioned a little bit about like learning to know and understand yourself. And that can be
Mm.
quite a long journey, and
Mm.
especially when you're young. And we had talked about naivety before. So when you're young and naive and you think you know it all, you know, versus like when you get older, like the older I get, the more I realize like I don't know fuck all. Like
Yes.
I'm just like,
Yes.
wow, I was 20 and dumb. Like,
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, I hope I never stop learning. It
Oh,
is
I know. It's constantly, like constantly learning and growing. So I wanted to talk about your journey of
mm,
like what was your journey like as you came to know
mm.
yourself, and if you're comfortable sharing, like what are some of the things that you learned about yourself all along the way?
Oh my gosh. I think so my journey was it's a funny I didn't know anything about self-help and development, personal growth and development, and self-help until I read the book, Miracle Morning by Hal
Mhm.
Elrod.
Mhm.
And that was my first introduction to like, oh, you might want to work on yourself. And I started my doing a morning practice I don't know, 15 years ago, and I still do it at almost every morning. I would say like 80% completion rate,
Mhm.
where I start my morning really intentional. And then it's like I dip in and out of different modalities of learning. Sometimes it's a one-on-one coach. Sometimes it's podcasts. I love learning from podcasts.
Mhm.
Other times it's books or buying a course. What I've learned about myself is, oh my gosh, like looking back at how I was in the business as that helicopter, I just didn't like nobody liked me and I didn't like me.
Mhm.
Like I did not like how I was showing up as that like really anal, like just worried about the littlest thing. And so I think one of the biggest things is learning to let things go.
Mhm.
I still have a hard time with that,
Mhm.
but learning to let things go and learning to trust that other people know how to do your business better than you.
Mhm.
And so what I've gotten really good at is hiring the best people. Now
Mhm.
I feel like that is my zone of genius now. I see my blocks. I see where I am not an expert and I can say, "Oh my gosh, you can help me with this because I'm not great at this. Oh, I
Mhm.
actually love doing this. I'm going to be an expert over here." And letting go, you
Mhm.
don't have to be an expert in everything.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think, there's kind of two schools of thought on that, where it's like you should learn learn the skills that you don't know so that you can make those skills better, right? And then there are
Mhm.
other people who say like no, just focus on the things that you're good at and then offload the stuff that you're not good at to other people. And I think I don't know, my opinion is kind of like I still like for me it's tech and how all the
Mhm.
tech integrates together,
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that is something that really frustrates me to no end. And so it's
Yeah.
like I want to know how it works together, like especially right now for me the big thing is AI. Like what is
Right.
what is out there? How can I integrate this into my business to make it more efficient, right? Obviously I don't want to be like just generating AI crap all the time, right? But
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
what are the connections that I can make, but it's like learning how to integrate them. It's so for me, I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's good for me to know the theory, but in terms of implementing it in my business, just hire someone to do
Yeah.
that?
I think
So,
that is I love that. I agree. I completely agree with that. If it's important to you and is in line with your values and your business, I do believe it's important to know enough
mhm,
to know if it's working or it's not working, or if you're
mhm.
being ripped off or you're not being ripped off, and
Yeah.
then outsourcing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but I really think that's like for me anyways, the thing is better to like focus on the things that you're good at. Or as founders, there are certain things that only we can do, right? And so
Right.
it's like
Yes.
focus on the things that 100% need my attention. And if something doesn't absolutely need me,
Oh,
then you can outsource that to somebody else, right?
yeah.
And
Permission to let that go. Permission
yeah.
to outsource
Mhm.
and permission to like let it go. We don't have to do it, even though we've been conditioned to believe we have to do everything as women.
Mhm. Mhm.
Granting yourself permission to get help on the things that don't bring you joy or that someone else could do way faster, way more efficiently with
Mhm.
more success.
Mhm. Mhm. So, ooh, I just dropped my pencil. Ha! I poked myself. Um, so one thing that you had just mentioned was as women, and so I
Mm,
think like there is this certain mindset as women that we have to do everything and be everything. We have to like do all the things, right? And so I wanted to talk about because you had also kind of going back to what we had spoken about before, you had talked about being in a male dominated environment and you
mm,
were very much in your masculine energy. And so I wanted to talk about um, the power behind embracing your femininity and being in your femininity as a business owner. Because a lot of the time, people think that those two things cannot go together. But one of the things that I am learning about myself is that
Mhm.
the more I embrace the feminine, the more I realize that I am not one of the guys. I will never be
Mhm.
one of the guys. Don't pretend to be one of the guys, the more I embrace my feminine energy and just embrace the fact that I'm a woman, the better my results are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it did serve me well. If
Mhm.
you look, if we're talking about failing and what we can learn through failures, I think starting 20 years ago in a male-dominated field and being surrounded by bros who had no problem expecting a lot from their team, who are mostly
Mhm.
women,
Mhm.
and delegating
Mhm.
and being a boss, right?
Mhm.
Being a boss and delegating and telling people what to do. I think that actually served me really well,
Mhm.
even today. I have
Mhm.
no problem doing that, delegating,
Mhm.
outsourcing. And so I don't feel the guilt that I know my clients do of like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I feel so badly. Um, telling someone to do something,
Mhm.
or oh gosh, I feel so badly, asking someone to clean my house. I
Mhm.
feel so badly asking someone to like pick up my kid because I'm recording a podcast and I have a side
Mhm.
hustle. I have a goal
Mhm.
I'm going after.
Mhm.
And so I think that masculine piece is really important for us women to step into. Just
Mhm.
letting go of the guilt of not being and doing everything for everyone. It's this like worthiness equation. Like the more
Mhm.
I do as a woman, the worthier I am.
Mhm.
Somehow granting ourselves permission to release that.
Mhm.
It's too heavy. It's too heavy. And the more that we do, I really believe the shittier we are at everything.
Mhm. I would even say that that's necessarily like delegating isn't necessarily masculine per se, you know? I think it's the expectation, and maybe we put the expectation on ourselves, or maybe it's a little bit of
Mhm.
societal conditioning, but there is this conditioning that, women are supposed to do it all. Like
Yes.
we go and we work our 9 to 5 or whatever it
Yeah.
is, but then we also have to cook and we have to clean and we have to do the laundry and pick up the kids and all of this stuff, right? And so,
Yeah.
like, I think, recognizing that that's not feasible doesn't necessarily make it more masculine. I think that's just being realistic.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I just, for some reason, it's easier for men. It's
Mhm.
easier for men to expect and delegate the laundry
Yes.
and the pickup and the cleaning and the
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, where I think like, oh, that feels more like a masculine
Yeah, I
attribute
get that. Mhm.
because they're just expecting us to do it. And
Yeah.
then we take it on. Like, oh my gosh, of course, because we've been told that's how I prove myself.
Well, and that we've also been told that, like, that's how you show love to your partner or whatever,
Oh,
right? And
yes.
so there's this expectation. One of the things that I really struggle with, and my editor will be watching this, but but I really struggle with like when I'm telling like my people that I work with or the people that I delegate to, like,
Hmm.
oh, there was a mistake, and for me that's the huge challenge. So I'm sorry, Devin. He's my guy. She's gonna edit this. But anyways, yeah, for me, the biggest one of the biggest challenges is when there's something
Hmm.
that needs to be updated or something that needs to be changed. And it's
Oh,
like I feel like I'm nagging, and it's like I don't want to be a nag.
yes, and that is again, we've been told that
Mhm. Yeah.
asking for anything makes us too much or a
Mhm.
nag or needy.
Mhm.
And I think it's really important for women to practice asking for
Mhm.
help, practice outsourcing, practice delegating. Because here's the deal: like, think of I've coached women and they've decided to outsource laundry and
Mhm.
have someone do their laundry, and they're like, "Oh my god, I feel so badly about that."
Mhm.
If someone has a side hustle or a laundry business, what that tells me is they love it. They
Mhm.
love taking something that's wrinkly and dirty and washing it and folding it and making it look a certain way and
Mhm.
helping in that way.
Mhm.
By you investing in that person's business, you're not needy, you're not a nag, you're not too much. You're
Mhm.
supporting another woman in business. And it can be this like mindset shift. Same with like your
Yeah.
editor. Like you
Yeah.
are giving them employment. You are
Mhm.
letting them lean into their strengths and do what
Yeah.
they love.
Yeah. Well, and he's amazing. Like honestly, he's amazing, but like like we all have like whoops, I forgot to do this or I forgot to do
Hmm.
that, right?
Hmm.
And so it's also about like we are accountable toward each other, right? Because he's helping me
Yeah.
build my business, right? So he wants to see me succeed, right? So I have to like
Yes.
have that mindset shift, you know?
Hmm. Yep.
Just talking about laundry there too, like that was one of the things. So when I was married, my husband and I were both in very, very intensive programs at university. And so like during exam season, and we lived in a place where there was no washing machine. So we either had to like he would either take the laundry to the college campus where he was
Hmm.
on, or there was a laundromat like down the street. And as soon as we discovered that the laundromat down the street had wash and fold, it was like a game changer for exam season because I was like, I am not doing this.
I love that so much. And it takes
Uh-huh.
us so long to realize that. I have
Mhm.
3 kids, and honestly, it wasn't until the 3rd one that I realized, like, I really why are we not carpooling? Like,
Yeah.
why am I not asking, like, "Hey, can you do Tuesday? I'll do Thursday?"
Mhm.
And I even, until recently, was susceptible to this, like, "Oh, I have to do it." Like, I have to be
Mhm.
the mom. I have to show the love that way versus
Mhm.
let's just share the burden
Yeah.
and everybody's gonna be happier and better off for it.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that's so interesting that and I think it's a woman thing. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think it's a woman thing that it's like the more that we I don't want to use the word suffer necessarily, but the more that we like suffer in like doing all the things for our family, it's like the
Yeah.
more we love them or the more worthy and deserving we are,
Yeah.
you know, or the
Yeah.
more devoted we are versus
Yeah.
like practically speaking, like I can't work like 10 or 12 hours a day and also put a fully cooked meal on like it's just not
Yeah.
possible, you know?
I talk to a lot of women about their commitment to chaos.
Mhm.
And it's like this, yeah, it is a martyrdom. It is like, oh, I have to martyr myself and kill myself for everyone else to earn something.
Mhm.
And being busy all the time or committed to
Mhm.
chaos is worn
Mhm.
as a badge of honor.
Mhm.
And it really is hard. It is
Mhm.
really hard to have the mindset shift and to do the work, um, to let go of that, let go of the
Mhm.
control, let go of the chaos, lean into ease. And I think that's feminine is
Mhm.
leaning into ease and joy and leisure
Mhm.
and play.
Mhm.
I do more now than I've ever done, but have way more ease. It is
Mhm.
just easeful because I've hired the people to help me figure out how to let go of the chaos, let go of the
Mhm.
busy. I still
Mhm.
get a ton of stuff done. It just is more present, more joyful.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that's such a good way of looking at it is like offloading the chaos sometimes, like, and just recognizing that you can't do and be everything to everyone at all times, you know, and
Yeah,
honoring yourself through that, right? And I think that goes back to knowing yourself and knowing what you're good at and what you outsource. Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm. So, in terms of your coaching practice, your
Mhm.
coaching collective, would you say that you have, like, are you coaching only women? Are you coaching men and
Mm.
women? Or what's your kind of
Right
demographics
now I
there?
focus on women.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's a collective of women. There's about 50 of us right
Mm-hmm.
now. and 6 coaches, and they're all women, and it is very much a matriarchal vibe,
Mhm.
leaning into, the matriarchy and women supporting women
Mhm.
and releasing the patriarchy, releasing that hustle bro vibey,
Mhm.
um, and yeah, we are getting shit done. Like,
Mhm.
big things are happening in there,
Mhm.
with ease.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Amazing. So you had said that you had kind of you hire the best coaches in
mhm.
every field. So let's walk through like the different areas
Yeah.
of coaching that you focus on.
Okay. So I am the generalist,
Mhm.
lifestyle design. I coach every month and we set goals together for the month. We set I we have a theme every single month. So we just kicked off May. Be bold. Be bold is
Mhm.
our theme for May. And I hop on live every Monday morning to kick off our week with inspiration and stories and kind of a challenge just to kind of like stay inspired and motivated. And then the coaches. So Elise Enriquez is our productivity and systems coach. So this is for the woman who's committed to chaos. This is for the woman who's busy. This is for the woman who has a lot of shit they want to do but feels overwhelmed. Elise with her
Mm.
system and productivity is going to help you dial in and still be able to achieve all that stuff with just more mind space and
Mhm.
freedom.
Mhm.
We have Molly Fitter. She's our health and well-being coach. And when I hired a health and well-being coach, I assumed like we're going to talk about like nutrition and weight and exercise. But as I said, I definitely step back and let the coaches coach on what they know women need. And so she's coaching on cortisol. She's coaching on energy, and she's
Mhm.
really doing a really amazing work on pelvic floor strength right now,
Ah,
which
yeah.
is a very interesting. She came to me and she's like, I want to coach on pelvic floor strength. And I thought, what? Like, what does that have to do with goal getting? The crew is just, we're just getting goals. It's
Yeah.
just a goal getting
Yeah.
coaching collective. Well, it's really hard to like get up on a TEDx stage if you have incontinence, if you're
Yeah.
worried about your pelvic floor. And so
Mhm.
the relief that her coaching is bringing to the members is amazing. So,
Mhm.
Molly Health and Wellbeing, we have Mindy Hebner. She's our mindset and identity coach. She helps us figure out who we're becoming,
Mhm.
what identity we're stepping into, and releasing subconscious narratives and rewiring our neural pathways so that we step into this new identity with ease. We have Sarah Dean. She's our business and leadership coach. She is coaching on AI today. She coaches all sorts of businesses from a side hustle to she's worked with Microsoft and Starbucks and Apple. So she's phenomenal. And then Amy Preeb is our relationship expert
Mhm.
and relationship coach. So she's going to teach us on our relationship with ourselves. We talked about awareness,
Mhm.
and she's really helping us learn about attachment theory and forming a secure attachment to self so that we can form secure attachments in our other relationships.
Mhm.
And so I have paid for each of these. I've hired them on the side. So I like
Mhm.
vet my coaches by hiring them and working with them. And
Mhm.
now they coach in the crew and they're paid very, very well. And
Mhm.
so instead of us, the members, having to pay, like $2,500 a month
Mhm.
for all of these coaches, they get it for $97 a month.
Well, that's actually a really amazing system to put in place because you get access to all the different areas of expertise. And again, like one person can't do it all, right? So if you hire a business coach, like you said, I mean, and some of these coaches are way more than $2,500, like
Exactly. I paid
yeah.
way more. I
Yeah.
paid way more. Yes. If you were going to go and hire each of these, they are going to be more than that. But because of the system and the scalability, we're able to
Mhm.
do it. And it also sounds overwhelming. And I totally understand and I want to acknowledge that. But as the leader and as your like, generalist, my invitation to members is to lean into what you feel like you need. Like you would
Mhm.
never hire all these coaches at once. You could lean
It's
into
too
the
much.
business.
Yeah.
It is too much gas. So you just lean into
Mhm.
the business for a while. And then you're gonna learn from Sarah, and Sarah's gonna say something about mindset, maybe like, oh, maybe it's time to, work on the mindset before you level up the business. Then you go
Mhm.
over and work with Mindy. It's very
Mhm.
much like a gym, like a health club,
Mhm.
where you're not gonna do everything all the time. You're just gonna
Mhm.
lean into what you need in your season.
Mhm. Mhm. I wanted to talk about because you said that you've been doing this for quite some time. So, have you
Mhm.
noticed a change in the coaching industry from when you started to now? Like, are there different techniques that have become more popular or less
Mm.
popular? Are there different mindsets? Shifts that people have had
Yeah.
or like revelations? Like, how has the industry changed over the course of your career?
So I think my perception is going to be a little skewed and maybe even jaded because I'm in the industry.
Mhm.
And having been in the industry for a decade, what I have seen is a inundation of new coaches. Now, I also believe there's enough room and space for all of us.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But when I used to get coaching or be in a course or listen to a podcast, it was very specific and very helpful, um and 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 that was wonderful. And what I see more and more now of is very broad, general ideas and not specific
Mhm.
help. A lot
Mhm.
of like woo and manifest and magic and miracles, which I
Mhm.
believe in absolutely.
Mhm.
And we also have to do the work. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to manifest by just sitting and meditating, right? Yes, you
Mhm.
can do that and visualize and all those things. And you got to go out and do the work. And I think
Mhm.
with the like web celebs and the big celebrity coaches,
Mhm.
um, it feels a little too general for me. Like, oh, you just
Mhm.
believe it and then it happens versus like,
Mhm.
uh, we've got to learn and we've got to work and we've got to face our fear and put ourselves out there.
Mhm.
Um, and I think what I've also seen is this like guru, some coaches presenting as a guru, and really like just you just want to be me. You just want to
Mhm.
be, and that feels kind of icky and gross.
Yeah, that is really icky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I don't wanna be
Mhm.
anyone other than myself.
Exactly.
I
Yes.
I like, for me, I think my journey, like, one of my big purposes right now is to learn as much as I can, but also learn as much about myself as I can
Mm.
because I'm just like, wow, like, the more I open my mind, the more I realize that I don't know. And so it's just like I'm reading all the books, I'm like taking all the courses, finishing some, not finishing
Yeah.
others, but it's
Yeah.
just like I'm taking it all in. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing these podcasts as well, is because you learn so much from interviewing, experts in the field.
Yeah.
So,
And also the coaches inside the collective, inside the crew, they're also members. And
mhm.
so they also realize that there's so much to be learned from the other coaches. And
Mhm.
so we show up to each other's calls.
Mhm.
Every single coach in there is also a member. And so,
Mhm.
yes, one's a coach or, a mindset coach, and she's going to show up to the business sessions because she wants to learn about her
Mhm.
business. And I think that
Mhm.
is so beautiful. It's really like this, like, lack of intense ego,
Mhm.
which can be found out there in the coaching industry, I think.
Yeah, and I think, in any industry, having an intense ego is it's only gonna hurt you in the
Mhm.
long run, right? And so, like, whether for me, whether or not I'm, doing my DJing or my speaking or my podcasting or whatever, I'm just like, you have so much more to learn. Like, it's a fine balance, I think, between having confidence in your skills and your abilities, because it's like, I know that
Right.
I'm good at this and I'm confident in my ability to provide, but I also know that there's more out there for me to learn. And I also know that I can constantly grow and get better and improve, right?
Mhm. Yes, that
So,
both and.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and so it's like the balance of confidence and ego and humility that you have to kind of keep in check.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, so, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about, before we start wrapping up here, or like?
No, this has been so great. I have loved
Mm,
sharing my stories and talking with you. I
mhm,
feel like, yeah, we're on the same growth journey, like
mhm,
learning and
mhm.
growing.
Yeah. One final thing that I wanted to talk to you about that you had mentioned, was, you know, I agree that there's kind of a convergence or a confluence of, coaching, but then there's also like this woo-woo manifestation, And so I wanted to talk to you about, because, I'm kind of the same, like, I believe in manifestation, I believe
Mhm.
that you can, visualize and all these things, right? But I also believe in the, what do they call it? Like, the inspired action, right? In
Yeah.
order to achieve your
Mhm.
goals. So I
Mhm.
wanna know, like, in your experience, or how has, like, the
Mhm.
manifestation world kind of come more into play in the coaching world
Mm.
over the
I
years?
don't Yeah, and I don't know because I haven't really leaned so much into the manifesting.
Mhm.
But I do agree with it, like the both and of you
Mhm.
can have the woo and the inspired action. I mean, my vision board is
Mhm.
behind me, and having a
Yeah.
vision board feels very woo and manifesty. But when I look at it and visualize it, then it inspires me to go out and take the action. So
Mhm.
this is going to sound really silly. People have good luck things. And so in my
Mhm.
family, we think oysters. Like oysters have just always been like this good luck. It's kind of like
Mhm.
it just makes you feel wealthy and feel a certain way having oysters. So a couple months ago, I we took my husband and I took my youngest up to Canada to go see a concert. And the night before the concert, we had oysters because my son really wanted to meet the artist, which is
Mhm.
like it just doesn't happen. But like, okay, like let's manifest it.
Yeah.
So we had our oysters and we cheers our oysters to meeting Gavin
Yeah.
and then we forgot about it.
Yeah.
And the next day we got up early. We're first in line because we want to be front row.
Mhm.
And as we're pulling up to the venue, and I'm not shitting you, 6 hours early because this is how we want to do the concert, there's these haggard looking kids walking from the casino back to like behind where like the vans would be.
Mhm.
And I was like, is that the opener? Is that Zach? And Tom's like, no, that's Gavin. And so we rolled down the Uber and I said, hey Gavin, can we come say hi? And so we met him. We
Yeah.
met the artist.
Yeah.
And so the woo was the oysters, the believing, the imagining, the
Yeah.
dreaming, like, oh, wouldn't it be wild? But then the
Mhm.
inspired action is showing up 6 hours early.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it can be both.
Mhm.
It is
Yeah.
both.
Yeah. And I would say, because I also have a vision board in my room, and for me, the vision board also helps me, kind of like, I try to do it at the beginning of every year, and it's like, okay, what are my intentions for this year? And it's about like
Mhm.
setting the intentions, and then every time I look at that board, I'm like, these are the things that I'm
Yeah.
going for. These are my goals for the year. So it's like intention and goal setting, and it
Yep.
helps me
Same.
to remember and keep me on track.
Yep. Same.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, this has been a really amazing conversation. Thank you so much for being here. Where is the best place for people to find you online if they are interested in working with you or joining the crew?
Yeah, Instagram's great. It's probably put this in the show notes. Mari
Yes.
Wuellner on Instagram and the Crew CC on Instagram as well.
Okay.
And that's just a fun way to get to know each other.
Okay, amazing. Well, I will make sure to include those links. It's been so amazing having you here on the show. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been
Okay.
a pleasure. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Bye.